Hi, my name is Avery Forney, and this is my Critical Dispositions reflection video. So throughout the course, I feel like I've learned so much about working with individuals with exceptionalities, and today I'm gonna be reflecting on what has impacted me the most personally. So I want to go over how my thinking has grown, what I'm taking into my future classroom, and any thoughts, like final thoughts I'd like to share. So I feel like one of the most important things that I learned this semester was the idea of dignity and person-centered support, which is emphasized and talked about a lot through the Exceptional Lives book that we've been reading all semester. I feel like the readings really helped me understand that supporting students with disabilities isn't just about accommodations or compliance, but it's about ensuring that they feel valued, respected, and involved in decisions about their own learning. And I feel like the book really highlights the importance of self-determination, family partnerships, and seeing students as a whole person with strengths and goals other than just someone with a disability or an exceptionality. I also learned how important it is to challenge assumptions about how students learn. The Education Week Learning in the Brain quiz that we read, I think it was maybe module 5, it really opened my eyes to the number of neuromyths that still circulate education today. So things like learning styles or the idea that we only use 10% of our brain. I realized that when educators rely on inaccurate science, it can limit students rather than empower them. This activity really reminded me that effective teaching means grounding decisions in evidence and not in popular myths, like the one stated in that reading. So looking back on the readings, presentations, and also discussions, my thinking about individuals with disabilities has definitely evolved. So earlier in my educational journey, I used to think more in terms of what students needed help with, but now I understand that many barriers come from the system, not from the student. So inclusion isn't about fixing a child, it's about fixing the environment around them. And that's something that I've evolved my thinking about. I also realized how easy it is for assumptions or labels to shape expectations. It's hearing personal stories throughout this class and reading about lived experiences and exceptional lives helped me see how important it is to approach each student as an individual and not as a diagnosis or not as a disability. So I'm more aware of the subtle biases that teacher can carry. I feel like maybe assuming a student with a disability can't handle certain tasks or responsibilities just because they have that exceptionality. So this course really made me check those assumptions and instead focus on collaboration, high expectations, and autonomy for the student. The biggest takeaway that I'll carry into my future classroom is the importance of designing lessons that meet the needs of all learners from the start. The universal design for learning stood out to me as an approach that supports students proactively and not reactively. And then pair that with what I learned from the Ed Week Neuromyths quiz. I feel like it's very essential to use evidence-based practices, offer flexible pathways for students to show understanding, and include student voice whenever possible. The more you can, the better. And I want to create a classroom environment where students feel safe, respected, and understood. Obviously, that's kind of the whole reason that I'm going into teaching. But the message of dignity from exceptional lives really resonated with me. And I want to make sure that my students with disabilities can see themselves as capable and valued members of the community rather than just their disability. So whether it's offering choices using clear scaffolds like I learned about in my BLE class or building positive relationships, I want every student to feel supported. Finally, I just want to talk about how I feel like my empathy and my curiosity has definitely grown more in the area of special education. I probably wouldn't have taken a special education course if it wasn't required, but I feel like I really did learn a lot from this class. I feel more aware of the responsibility that educators have. It's not just to teach content, but it's also to advocate for inclusion and respect. And honestly, before taking this class, I never really thought of the possibility of having a kid with exceptionalities or a disability in my class. I don't know why it just never crossed my mind, but I mean, I'm definitely going to have a kid with exceptionalities at some point. So I'm really glad that I took this class. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to rethink what support really means for a student and continue to develop the mindset and skills needed to work with students of all abilities. So that was my reflection, and thank you for listening.